Hey folks, Adam AI4UH here, and I would like to talk to you about the most wonderful time of the year. Upcoming in just a couple of days is the ARRL's Straight Key Night, followed immediately by the SKCC's Straight Key Month. So what is ARRL Straight Key Night? That is an event. It's not a contest, it's just a special event, and it's held every January 1st. It starts at 0 hours UTC and goes through 23:59 UTC. And for those hams in the US, that of course is the 31st, so it starts in the evening on the 31st in local time. But just keep an eye on your UTC clocks, and we can get going as soon as the new year hits. So it's a 24-hour event. Again, not a contest. And, really it's for celebrating our CW heritage. Participants are encouraged to get on the air and simply, have a good time, have some enjoyable conversations, have some interesting QSOs. It is preferred to use straight keys or bugs. Effectively, anything that's a manual key. And for anyone who's not familiar with that, what is a manual key? I've got some examples of manual keys here. Let me pull up. Here is a key that requires an electronic keyer. So if you're using an electronic keyer, this would go dit, 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 and this would go da, 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 da. But we want to use manual keys that are effectively just a switch. You tap it, and it makes noise. Let me go ahead and hook one of these up. So yeah, you tap it, it dits. So yeah, celebrating that heritage with our manual keys, our straight keys, our bugs, that's that's the way to do Straight Key Night. And there's no points at the end of the event. People are encouraged to send their list of contacts as well as their votes for best fist and most interesting QSO over to the ARRL. And you can find the email address to submit those to on the ARRL's Straight Key Night page. So as soon as that wraps up, at 0 hours on January 2nd, the SKCC's Straight Key Month begins. And what's the SKCC if you're not familiar with that? That's the Straight Key Century Club. So this is a club where we have a lot of fun doing the exact same thing that Straight Key Night's all about. We use manual keys, so that's the straight keys we've got here, or a bug like this one. There's also another kind of key called a cootie or a side swiper. I don't have one of those out on the table. But we use those keys, we make contacts, we have lots of events, it's fun. So January is the month to celebrate, again, our CW heritage. So if you didn't have enough fun on the ARRL's Straight Key Night event, we start, again, January 2nd at 0 hours UTC doing our Straight Key Month. And there's lots of different ways to enjoy Straight Key Month. This is actually a sweep card that I got a couple of years ago, and the SKCC has a special event station, and that's K3Y. So some people also call this the K3Y event, or the SKM Straight Key Month event. And we've got operators in every region. So, K3Y stroke 0 through K3Y stroke 9, and then also K3Y stroke Kilo Hotel 6, so Hawaii, KL7, Alaska, KP4, Puerto Rico, and then also through some of the different continents: Africa, Asia, Europe, North America, Oceania, and South America. So if you can get one contact with K3Y stroke 0 through 9, so one for each of those, 10 contacts, that's a basic sweep, and you can get one of these sweep cards. If you also get KH6, KL7, and KP4, then that's called a full sweep. And if you can also get the continents, then that's a grand sweep. I always try to go for a grand sweep. Remember, you have the whole month to make these contacts, and you can get one of these really cool QSL cards. I'll do another video that talks all about how to get a QSL card for this, because you do have to submit a request for one by sending a self-addressed stamped envelope to the SKCC's QSL Bureau. But you don't need to submit any logs for Straight Key Month. All you need to do is make the contacts, and those K3Y operators, they'll put their logs in, and that's how you can go and track your progress. The Straight Key Century Club's K3Y page has an operator's guide. It has everything you might need to know about this. And let's talk about keys. Being as how this is here to celebrate our CW heritage, I always like to use my classic keys. This one here, this is the key I used last year for the Straight Key, and it is patented in 1891. It's made by J.H. Bunnell. This one has been restored, so it looks super clean, and it's ready for a whole nother lifetime of service. Don't know exactly what year it was made. These didn't have serial numbers, but we can assume it was somewhere in either the 1890s or the 1900s. And it's a pretty good working key. It just runs. CQ SKM. Another key that I really like for this is this Steiner key. So Steiner came out with this key, and it was patented in 1893, and it was designed to be just a little bit easier to manufacture than Bunnell's version. It uses this bent rod instead of a stamped steel cross, and also the pieces and parts are a little easier to adjust back and forth and really get the key dialed in. So it's pretty good design, but ultimately Bunnell triumphed over all the other brands, and there's one out. But this is a cool key because like I said, these don't have serial numbers. We don't know exactly when they were made. I know exactly when this one was made. And how do I know that? Because I know that the patent was both filed for and accepted in 1893, and this one actually doesn't say patented. Can I get it close enough? This says patent applied for. So we know if patent was applied for, this had to be made in 1893. So this is an actual 1893 key, and just like the Bunnell, it just runs. So great key. And again, I love using an 1800s key. This year it's going to be 2026, so that's 126 plus 7, 133-year-old key. That's pretty cool. This is new to my collection, and this is another Steiner key. This one was patented in 1886. And they were not made for very long, so we can say pretty reliably that this was most likely made in the 1880s. So it's just a few years older than the Bunnell and the Steiner cross key there. And again, it's this one's very different. If you look at the Bunnell, it has a conical spring in there to give that tension on the cross. And if you look at the Steiner key, it has a wound spring in there, but it accomplishes the same thing. Well, this one, it actually has a leaf spring right over the top here. This stainless steel piece is a leaf spring, and that gives it a pretty interesting feel. Let's go ahead and hook this up, and you can see it's, even though it's a different spring configuration, you can hear this key. It just runs too. So great key all around. I'm looking forward to putting this back into service for Straight Key Month this year. I will be operating as K3Y/7 for some of the time slots during the month. Right now I've only signed up for about 5 of them, but I'll probably sign up for a few more. And if you hear me out there, if it sounds like a straight key, it's going to be this one. If it sounds like a bug, it's probably going to be this bug here. And this bug is a 1923 serial number 89240. It's a pretty standard key. Has the black Japan finish, a little bit of gold striping on there. And it's just all around a solid key. It's a real workhorse of a key. So if you hear me on a key that sounds like a bug, this is most likely what it will be. I do have a couple other bugs, so if this one, needs a break, I might change to something else, but most likely it's going to be this one. So yeah, those are the keys I'll be using this year, and I'm looking forward to hearing everybody on the air. Remember, if you have any questions about Straight Key Night, go to the ARRL's website. If you have any questions about Straight Key Month, go over to the SKCC's website. They've got everything you need to know, including an operator's guide. And of course, you're always welcome to reach out to me, especially if you're a new operator, need a little help getting on the air, you need a little encouragement. I would be happy to walk you through it. And just one more thing to talk about. Let's talk about the exchange. So the exchange for ARRL Straight Key Night is just a regular QSO. So exchange your signal report, your name, your location. For Straight Key Month, it's going to follow the SKCC's exchange. You do not need to be an SKCC member to participate. Anybody's welcome to participate. As a matter of fact, folks who are new to CW or new to using straight keys or have never heard of the Straight Key Century Club are absolutely welcomed, more than welcomed, to participate in Straight Key Month. We really hope to hear everybody on the air. But the standard SKCC exchange is the signal report, location, name, call sign, and your SKCC number. If you don't have an SKCC number, well, you can certainly go ask for one. They don't cost anything. You just go over to skccgroup.org and get that information submitted. But if you don't have one, you can just send your RST, QTH, and your name. So that's it. Just wanted to go over the exchange. You'll also hear the K3Y operators. They're going to give you one extra piece of information. They're going to give you the signal report, location, name, their home call sign, and then their home SKCC number. So even though they're operating a special event station, the exchange is going to include their personal call sign and their personal number. And if you're logging these, you might choose to log it with their personal call sign. So if I was operating as K3Y/7, you would hear my exchange come back as, hey, you're 599, Arizona, operator Adam, AI4UH, SKCC number 27340S. So yeah, just be aware of that the K3Y operators do typically give out their personal call sign as part of the exchange. That's not something that non-K3Y operators need to give back, so don't worry about it. Anyway, that's all for now. Hope to hear everyone on there. Hope everyone's able to get one of these fantastic sweep cards. So that's all for now. Hope to hear everybody on the air. Hope everyone's able to get one of these fantastic sweep cards from the SKCC. And until next time,